Hello and welcome back to Inside the Contract. We are still on season 1. This is episode number 7. The 12 deadly claim mistakes contractors make and how to avoid them. Okay? Most claims fail not because the contractor is wrong, but because the contractor makes one of a handful of predictable mistakes. FIDIC 2017, under FIDIC 2017, these mistakes can be fatal, especially missing the 28-day notice of a claim, weak notice, weak particulars, and weak cause and effect proof. Today, we deep dive into the 12 most dangerous mistakes that destroy claims and how to avoid each one. The key principle, FIDIC 2017 rewards procedural discipline, not emotion. Even strong entitlement collapses if the contractor fails on. First, procedure, following clauses 20.2.1 and 20.2.4. Evidence, causation, critical path analysis, record keeping, communication discipline, using the wrong pathway. For example, variation versus claim, clause 13 or 20. Awareness, date, misinterpretation. Okay? Mistake number 1, missing the 28-day notice under clause 20.2.1, which we have talked about this several times so far. This is one of the most common procedural reasons claims fail. The notice of a claim is late. Okay, under subclause 20.2.1, late notice can extinguish entitlement unless the contract's procedure provides otherwise and the relevant conditions are met. What happens? Why it happens? We discussed this before. Contractor waits for clarity. Contractor waits for the final IFC drawings, for example. Contractor tries to avoid conflict, or contractor assumes delay is obvious, or contractor labels it a variation instead of a claim. Based on some of the common patterns for some projects I have studied, a project located in Asia, somewhere in Asia. Contractor informed late. Tribunal enforced strict time bar. Claim denied. Lesson, strict enforcement is real. Okay? Another mega project case here in GCC area. Notice silence means instant rejection. Decision makers uphold time bar if dates are clear. This has to be kept in mind, guys. Mistake number 2, vague notices that do not count. The notice should state what the event is, when you became aware, that you are notifying under clause 20.2, for example, that you intend to claim. Clarity. Examples of useless notices. We are facing delay. Kindly take a note. Please be aware of site conditions. The valid notice. A valid notice of a claim should identify the event and or circumstance, the basis of the claim, and enough detail to put the other party on notice that time and or money is being claimed. Okay? Mistake number 3, using the wrong pathway, claim versus variation. This could result in loss of entitlement. Example, approval late. Contractor submits variation request. Engineer replies, where is the instruction? Of course, no variation. 28 days pass. Claim is time barred. Variation instruction governs scope and valuation. 20.2 governs claims procedure for time and money impacts unless a carve-out applies. The rule: if the engineer has not instructed a variation, don't assume a variation pathway will protect your entitlement. Protect delay and disruption entitlement through subclause 20.2 unless the contract expressly provides a different mechanism. Where there's both added scope and delay cost impacts, it's treated as variation administration plus claim procedure in parallel. Okay, we talked about this in a previous episode. Mistake number 4, weak or late particulars, subclause 20.2.4. After the notice, you have 84 days to submit the following, which is based on best practice approach. Okay, that the 84 days start from the awareness date, by the way, not from the day you submit the notice. So what you need: chronology, contractual clauses, cause and effect analysis, time impact analysis, updated program, evidence logs, mitigation narrative, support and documentation. Many contractors submit this too late or too weak, so engineer and the employer have a valid reason to reject. Contractor complains. It is possible that the DAP will later side with the engineer based on the weak or late notices. Subclause 20.2.4 requires a fully detailed claim within the required time frame. In practice, the submission should be strong enough to prove contractual basis, cause and effect, time impact, cost buildup, and contemporaneous support. Weak particulars often lead to rejection or reduction. Mistake number 5, no critical path demonstration. A delay is not compensable unless it affects the critical path. Accepted methods: time impact analysis, which is most powerful, windows analysis, contemporaneous as planned versus as built, and of course, what the contract says about your specific situation that you have to be aware of, regardless of what the standard practice calls for. What's not accepted: Excel tables, narrative only, unless they are credible and it is linked to the program. Decision makers usually expect a credible schedule-based demonstration of a critical delay. The analysis must be consistent with the available program data. Unsupported narratives or unlinked spreadsheets are usually less persuasive than logic-linked program evidence. Mistake number 6, poor records, which is the silent killer, I call it. Claims collapse because no daily diaries, no photos, no updated program, no approval logs, no authority logs, no manpower data. Based on the AACE and the SCL protocol, which is used, guidance, not law. These are just guidance. It states contemporaneous records are the highest weight evidence. So contemporaneous records are heavily weighted in disputes. This is widely accepted in arbitral practice. Mistake number 7, bundled claims at the end of the project. Submitting all claims together at the end of the project bundled submissions create major risk. Awareness dates become contested, records are thin, and cause and effect gets blurred. Even where claims are legitimate, late notice or weak substantiation can defeat entitlement. Okay? Mistake number 8, emotional or aggressive letters. Emotional language weakens credibility, makes engineer defensive, suggests contractor lacks evidence, can be used in arbitration to discredit the contractor. Use fact-based, clause-based language, not frustration. Mistake number 9, misinterpreting awareness date. This is subtle but lethal. Awareness date equals the date the contractor knew or should have known of the delay. Examples: drawings due on 10th of July. Awareness date is 10th of July. Approval needed by 5th of May. Awareness date is the 5th of May. Access milestone on April 1st. Missed. Awareness date is April 1st. Courts and DAPs favor objective awareness, not subjective. Frequently, the earliest defensible awareness date is an objective milestone date. Example, when an approval was due and not received, but it remains a fact-sensitive test also. So, there are case specifics. Mistake number 10, no mitigation narrative. It is preferred that the contractor demonstrating reasonable efforts to reduce delay, not passively allowing delay to grow. Evidence, for example, resequencing, resource increases, etc. Like parallel work, interface reshuffling, temporary measures. Decision makers look closely for evidence of mitigation. Mistake number 11, not challenging engineer errors, referring to clause 3.7. If the engineer, for example, rejects without reasons, delays determination, fails to consult both parties, you must issue disagreement, trigger subclause 3.7, potentially issue notice of dissatisfaction. Failing to do so weakens your position significantly. If the engineer issues a determination you disagree with, protect your position by issuing a notice of dissatisfaction in accordance with subclause 3.7.5 within the required time frame. Failure to do so can allow the determination to become final and binding, depending on the contract wording force. Mistake number 12, no claim register or no tracking system. The final and most overlooked mistake. A professional contractor maintains notice register, delay event register, variation register, claim register, correspondence register, testing and commissioning register, authority permit register. Without registers, claims become inconsistent, dates contradict, awareness cannot be proven, credibility questioned. For major programs, register discipline is one of the most common credibility weaknesses. Okay? So, just to close, claims are not won by emotion or effort. They are won through discipline. If you avoid these 12 mistakes, you immediately become a top-tier contractor in any FIDIC project. Okay? So by this, we come to the conclusion of episode 7. Next time in episode 8, we go deeper into the engineer's role, their powers, limits, neutrality, and how their decisions shape every claim and variation. I would like to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.